Hi, I'm Malcolm.
And I'm Rachel. We're two Canadians living on our 39-foot mainship trawler, living an adventure of a lifetime. We invite you to follow along as we travel 6,000 miles through Canadian and U.S. waterways around America's Great Loop. Good morning. We had a couple of great days here in St. Augustine, and we are just preparing to leave. It's close to 8 a.m. and we are waiting for slack tide because getting in and out of the slip is a little tricky with the currents. So we're waiting for that moment, and we'll head on farther north up the ICW, planning to go today to an anchorage near Fernandina Beach. Should be quite a long day, about 8.5 hours at least, depending on some no wake zones. But we're preparing to leave and know we're going to have a fairly long day today along the ICW heading farther north. Hope you're having a great day. It's a bit of a gray day today. We had some rain this morning before we got up, and quite a downpour, which was great to wash off the boat. And it stopped for a little while, and then we just had a little sprinkle as we're heading out, and it's kind of gray, but there's some blue sky showing, so it should turn out to be an okay day, I think. Just this morning, just the last few rain clouds heading out. But obviously we don't want to get any electronics wet upstairs, so Malcolm had to kind of close the windows quickly up there. Anyway, we're off again, and let's see how today goes. Well, good morning. I was just downstairs preparing some breakfast for us as we're carrying along the ICW, and I heard an alarm. What happened?
Well, good question. So we have configured our VHF radio to really broadcast any alarms or weather alarms that are coming from the Coast Guard or the Weather Service. And so what happened was, as we were moving along, and everything looks relatively fine, a little overcast, but not bad, they put an alert out that said that there's severe weather happening just to the east of us.
Offshore.
Offshore. There's another one. In fact, you can hear it right now. I'll turn it off. But that's what you'd hear. And I can actually let you hear the rest if you want. But really what the reality for us is, you need to be aware of the weather. It's good to have your VHF triggered so that you can actually see these or hear these alerts come in. And it gave us the opportunity to understand that there's severe thunderstorms happening just offshore with water spouts, which you don't want to be in, and 50-knot wind gusts, which are equivalent to about 50 miles an hour, almost 100 kilometers an hour.
And today we do have some spotty weather, mostly offshore, going up the coast from south to north. And you can see the storms, you can see the rain. We had some this morning, but we know it's fairly clear for in the ICW, but you never know, something could pop up, right?
Well, that's right, and I think we do watch it, obviously, on our radar apps, and we're seeing that it come up parallel to us, which means at this point there's no real threat. We're not going super fast either, so it's going to overtake us, which is even better.
Yeah.
But we will probably, think about what kind of plan we'd put in place if we got hit with one, because you'd probably want to stop. You're not going to be able to see anything, because the visibility will go to zero.
We change our plans for sure.
And you may want to drop the hook and wait it out. We'll see. So hopefully we don't have to deal with that. But it is interesting that we can sit here and not be even aware that there's a severe thunderstorm, but our WX or VHF radio, which on the WX channel, sends an alert. Listen to that alert, and you can get all the details you need, and
Really
then plan
good.
accordingly. Sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes you actually got to take some action. And in this case, we'll wait and see. We'll watch it.
We're in a hold pattern.
Yeah, exactly.
Has issued a special marine warning for coastal waters from Altamaha Sound to St. Augustine out 20 nautical miles until 9:45 a.m. At 8:51 a.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing waterspouts was located 7 nautical miles east of Mayport, or 32 nautical miles north of St. Augustine, moving northwest at 15 knots. Hazard, waterspouts and wind gusts to nearly 50 knots. Source, radar. Impact, small craft could be damaged and briefly higher winds and suddenly higher waves. Locations impacted include High Point, Talbot Island, Buoy KDY, Nassau Sound Approach Buoy 6A, Dunsnus, St. Mary's Entrance Buoy 16, Cumberland Island, and Amelia City. Move to safe harbor immediately as gusty winds and high waves are expected. If your vessel is caught offshore, immediately secure for heavy weather. Ensure all crew members are wearing USCG-approved Type I life jackets and non-essential crew are below decks. Deploy jack lines and harnesses if available. Check life-saving equipment, including batteries on handheld radios, for readiness. If your vessel is caught offshore, immediately secure for heavy weather. Ensure all crew members are wearing USCG-approved Type I life jackets and non-essential crew are below decks. Deploy jack lines and harnesses if available. Check life-saving equipment, including batteries on handheld radios, for readiness.
This part of the ICW is called the Talumata River, and it's pretty. There's some sort of marshy areas on either side, and now that the sun is coming out, it's that really pretty green. And the sky still looks fairly gray, but it's very pretty along here. And as we approach this next little part, there's some dredging going on. So Malcolm just called them, and they're telling us to come on through, and there's a sign with an arrow saying which way to go. So we don't want to get in their way, obviously, when they're working. That guy is going on his board, and he's got his dog beside him swimming along in this little river. Look at that big guy coming. I think we'll give him right away.
Good afternoon. This is a report from the bridge. We're on our way to Fernandino Beach. We're going to go there, hopefully, and pick up some fuel. We've been told by a couple of fellow loopers that the fuel prices are very good there, so we may just top up. The trip today has been, I guess, a little interesting. We've passed some big ships and inlets. We have been traveling with one other boat, but there's really not that much traffic out here today. The speed we're running today is about, well, it varies a lot actually, from 6 to 9. So we're going really in a wide range, and that's largely, again, because of the tides, where you go past an inlet, whether it's coming in or out. We're using Bob's tracks. Some of you may have heard Bob's tracks. I think they're 432 or 423 or 486. I don't know. I just know they're Bob's tracks. And they're very useful. There are things that you can actually download, the GPX form of the file. There's, I think, 4 or 5 of them that we're looking at. And they really give you a much better view, a more up-to-date view of where shoaling is, so you can avoid it. And it's extremely important in these coastal waters, certainly as you get close to Georgia. In fact, there's already been a boat that we know that briefly ran aground this morning. And it's just that tricky when you start dealing with tides and then the water levels. So anyway, we'd certainly, so far, would recommend using Bob's tracks. They're something that anybody can use. You can load them into your chart plotter or your iPad, and then you can use them every day. So anyway, that's pretty much where we are today. We are running just over 1,800 RPM. We'll probably stay there for the rest of the day. We hope to get in before 4:30, and if we do, that'll be great. We'll get some fuel, then off to an anchorage, and then we're on again or off again tomorrow. And that's a report from the bridge.
We're getting very close to Fernandina Beach now, and we've had some weather reports on the radio. I think you heard some of that before, but we just had another one now that in Jacksonville area, they've had reports of severe thunderstorms with hail, damaging hail, and high winds. So there is a risk of having that sort of weather here where we are, a little bit north of that. And Georgia has tornado watches right now, so pretty severe weather in this area, and the winds have really got up since we've been coming along this waterway for the last sort of hour or two. So we may actually take a mooring ball at the marina for this evening instead of anchoring, just to be a little more secure, not really have to worry about the anchor too much. And also, you know, if we really need to, I guess we could always go to the marina if there's space there. So we're just contemplating that, and also might be able to make it in time for filling up some diesel. There's a place here we can get sort of cheaper diesel, So always a good idea to do that when you can. So if we make it in time, we'll get it this evening, this afternoon. But if not, we'll just wait till tomorrow morning. And then I just called the Jekyll Harbor Marina, which is our next stop tomorrow. And that's in a known shallow area. And so I talked to a woman there and said, when should we arrive there in terms of tides and all of that? So she said to come on a rising tide, which means we don't want to arrive before kind of 2 p.m. tomorrow. So I think we only have about a 4-hour journey, so it means we don't need to leave very early. But I would have preferred to have gotten there early to enjoy the day or the afternoon there, but it is what it is. We don't want to run aground. In fact, one of our fellow looper boats was up that way today and did run aground. So we want to avoid that particular area, and we're following those tracks, the Bob 423, and those have been adjusted to account for more recent areas of shoaling, which is very common in this area. And the tides do go up and down a lot, so it's important to really take note of the tides, obviously the local weather, and to really use that to your advantage so you're not going to run aground. Anyway, that's our report for now. We should be arriving to Fernandina Beach very soon, and we'll see if we can get some fuel now or if we wait till tomorrow and whether or not we get a mooring ball. So let's have a look at Fernandina Beach. So we've just arrived and caught a mooring ball at Fernandina Beach, just opposite the marina. That's their mooring field. And there's a couple of big plants around here. They're kind of stinky. But anyway, we're here and we're safe. And the main thing is that there's a big storm coming. We can actually hear all the rumbles. And we've had a warning for severe thunderstorm with hail. And we can't be moving in that case. And even out here, we're exposed. Even if at a dock, you're exposed.
Yeah, you are.
So hopefully we won't have any damage. But we had quite the effort getting the mooring ball. We chose one, which was apparently the wrong one. We didn't know that. And I was trying to get it. I lost the
Let me just say that the Admiral did a great job today. There was a lot of stress.
Yes, there was.
There was a lot of and this always happens with boating, and you see it all the time. One person is doing something, and the other person doesn't have a full appreciation for what's happening, and so you go, well, why don't you just do that? And of course, the person's trying to do it. So
I hooked the little eye on the mooring, but then I lost the hook.
Well, and you had no choice but to lose the hook.
We retrieved the hook, but I think we tried it like 3 times, maybe more, and it was really hard keeping the boat in the right position.
Let me just say, even though we had challenges, we found out something new today. The hook floats.
That's good.
That's a really good thing.
Thank God for the
because we were able to circle around, and then the Admiral here was able to use the other hook at the cockpit to get the first hook out. So nothing was lost.
Yeah.
No damage was done. And the thing that really worried me more than anything else was we have this huge storm coming, and we either have to have the anchor down or we have to be on a mooring.
And we actually decided to put the anchor down after failing 3 or 4 times. And then this really nice boater who's actually next to us now said, come over to this mooring ball where there's a floating eye where you can pick it up more easily. So we actually got it the first time. And so we really appreciate that guy letting us know about that mooring ball.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just feeling really grumpy. I think I still...
Anybody would be. But the fact is, you did it. We're on.
We did
and it wasn't. When in hindsight, it wasn't anything we could have done differently.
I guess
it was just the fact that there was just no way to get that mooring ball up, and the winds were howling, so they were pushing the boat backwards and forwards.
And I guess it's just that storm approaching. That's why it's howling. Right. I'm going to show you that. There's lots and lots of thunder right now, and I hope it's not going to be hail because I really don't know how that's going to affect the boat.
It'll be fine. In fact, we were at a dock yesterday or last night, and there were some people at that dock a night before we arrived. And there was a very strong northwesterly. This is at St. Augustine Municipal Dock.
Yeah, the stern was facing north.
The whole back of their boat was going up and down. And unfortunately, I won't say who they are, but unfortunately their dinghy motor was submerged because the dinghy actually half came off because it was getting bashed around so much. So it was just an amazing amount of wind. And you'd think at a dock you're going to be safe, but not always. Sometimes a mooring ball or anchor is better. So. You never know.
We don't know. We don't know.
You never know.
Yeah. anyway, we're here, and now we can sort of get everything buttoned up and hide inside.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.